Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content.
I think there's been a concern with Cavs fans pretty much since the end of the series against the New York Knicks a couple of years ago that this core is going to disappoint them in some way, shape, or form. And I think that has caused a good amount of hesitancy even within the Cleveland fan base, especially amongst its most diehard supporters, that this team will be able to accomplish whatever it has set out to accomplish. Now, some of this is people just being genuinely concerned. Some of this is people being checked out, not really checking back in, but holding the same opinions they held a couple of years ago. And some of this is people wanted the team to break up. They lost that argument. They don't want to admit that they lost the argument, right? There's a number of reasons why some Cavs fans who were diehard or on board with this a couple of years ago now seem to think that the only solution is to tear the whole thing down, and why those fans have been stubborn to give this team any of the proper credit that they deserve. But nonetheless, if we look at this Cavs team, I think what they did in game one is a perfect example of why this team is just so different this year. Because if you look at what happened in game one, right, we just zoom out. You got massive contributions from just three players: Ty Jerome, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, right? Those are the three players who showed up and showed up big versus the Miami Heat in game one. You could argue that maybe Evan Mobley looked a little rusty. I think he did. You can argue that Jared Allen looked a little rusty at times, right? He turned the ball over 2 times. He was 5 of 8 from the floor. He's usually a 70 to 80% guy from the floor. So you can argue he was a little bit rusty. DeAndre Hunter looked very rusty out there, right? Like there was a lot of this rust versus rest argument for the Cleveland Cavaliers before this game. And the difference with this Cavs team is that they can withstand a lot of bad performances and still be fine, because they got 3 guys on this team who any given night can give you 30. 4 guys, and Evan Mobley too, that any given night can give you 30. Darius can give you 30. Donovan can give you 30. Ty Jerome can give you 30, and Evan Mobley can give you 30. We go back to that New York series, or hell, even back to last year. Darius was injured. He wasn't giving you 30 on a nightly basis, or wasn't capable of just giving you 30 last year because of the jaw injury. Donovan was that. Evan Mobley was not there. And then maybe Karis LeVert can get you 20. Like, just think about the change from that rotation to what you have now. And what that does is just buy you different ways to win. And I think that is the number one asset that the Cleveland Cavaliers have that can put them above and beyond the rest of the NBA. This is the team in the league that has the most ways to win, right? There are 3 elite teams in basketball: Boston, Oklahoma City, Cleveland this year, right? Those are the 3 60-win teams in all of basketball. Elite teams. You get 60 wins in an NBA season, that's elite. And I don't think we've appreciated enough that this season, it's not just one 60-win team. It's not just 2. We had 3 60-win teams this year. 3 truly elite teams in basketball this season. And of those 3 teams, right, Cleveland, I think, has the most versatile ways to win games, up there with Boston. I think Boston's very versatile too. Cleveland, I think, is a little bit more versatile in how they can go about winning games, because the Cavs can beat you with superstar performances like we saw against Miami. They could beat you with a committee performance. I'm sure we will see that at some point in the playoffs, right? The Cavs have had plenty of nights where like they get 9 players or 10 players into double figures. That happens with the Cavs, right? This was not one of those days where they got that. They needed to lean on their superstars to be able to score the ball for them. And that worked out very well for the Cavs in game one. But if those superstars, they're not dropping, I wouldn't be surprised if you get a 20-point DeAndre Hunter night, right? Or, Ty Jerome gives you 10 off the bench as well. And then Darius contributes. And then Evan and Jarrett contribute a ton. The Cavs can win a ton of different ways. They can win with their two bigs. They can win with defense. They can win with pure offense. They can win because they're making a ton of threes. They can win in spite of not making a ton of threes. This is why this is the one team in the NBA this year that is going on three 15-game winning streaks. Because when you have that level of versatility to win, it's really hard, or it's easier for you to go on these winning streaks. The Cavs are a different beast than I think the team that the national media has in their head, and even some Cavs fans have in their head. This is not the same Cavs team that we've seen. And I think there's small things that can tell you why this is so different from the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? When you watch them in the playoffs last night, how they did not get carried away with the energy, I thought was very important. Playoff game, it's a whiteout, a lot of excitement. And in 2022 and 2023, those teams had issues living up to the big moment. How many times are we like, oh, it's a big Cavs game, they're playing the Warriors. Oh, it's a big Cavs game, they're playing Boston, and the team didn't show up. Well, you fast forward to this year, and they won most of those big games. Hell, they got a positive record against over 500 teams. Not just a positive record, the best record amongst teams against over 500 teams. The Cavs live up to the moment now. The Cavs don't shrivel when you put them in the spotlight. They actually they want the spotlight this year. I think that's one of the biggest differences with this team. And I think that's what Kenny Atkinson has brought. I think JB's done a great job in Detroit, but we kind of saw this when Detroit played in the New York Knicks. Now, to be fair to Detroit, a lot of that core is super young. This is their first playoff series. It's in Madison Square Garden. Hell, Cavs fans know how rough that can be. But with JB in that team, it didn't look like they were prepared for the lights. They didn't look like they were prepared for the spotlight of that moment. They crumbled in the fourth quarter in ways that we saw this Cavs team a couple of years ago crumble in those moments versus New York. In those moments where everybody's watching, where you realize that you might be able to do something, gets everybody talking, and then all of a sudden you just shrivel. That was one of my big concerns with the Cavs coming into this season. Are they ever going to get over that? Well, this year, the lights have gotten bright and the Cavs have gotten hotter. You feel me? Like, they go up, Oklahoma City. It's a big-ass game on ESPN. They hyped it up, and the Cavs went out there and gave you one of their best performances of the year. Every game against Boston, the Cavs showed up, did not quit, did not fold, no matter what. That's the difference, I think, between this year and last year. Hell, like if we even look at the fourth quarter of this Heat game, right? This game was within reach for Miami for most of it. They were like 8-9 points. It wasn't close, but it wasn't a blowout, right? For about 3 quarters. Miami was not going away. This didn't feel like a game where you're going to see Jalen Tyson check in for any reason, right? Or Tristan Thompson. Shout out Tristan Thompson minutes, which we got about a minute 30 of. But this didn't feel like a game where that was going to happen. And then, when I was watching it live, people were complaining about how the Cavs weren't finishing quarters. And I think that's because we're afraid that they're not going to finish the fourth quarter. But to me, I don't care how you finish the first quarter. I don't care how you finish the second quarter. I don't care how you finish the third quarter. How do you finish fourth quarter? That's the only one that matters. You can make up for a bad ending to the first, second, and third quarter. You can't make up for a bad fourth quarter. And in the fourth quarter, the Cavs did what good teams do, right? We saw Boston do this against Orlando, where Orlando was hanging in there, making things interesting, and then Boston finally pulled away, went on a run. We saw Golden State do this against the Houston Rockets, where Houston was hanging in there, made a little bit of a threat at the end of the fourth, pulled away, went on their run. We saw Cleveland do it versus Miami, right? Miami's hanging in there, one run away from tying this game up, right? Like it would only take them one decent run to tie the game up and to make this a more fair, more even bout. And what do the Cavs do? They go on a run. They put this thing out of reach. And then we see Jeremy Jaquez check in. I mean, not Jeremy Jaquez. You know what I mean. We see Jaquez check in. That is the difference. The Cavs last year weren't doing that. The Cavs 2 years ago weren't doing that. This Cavs team this year, it seems like it's all finally kind of coming together mentally, right? Maybe it's just time that did this, right? Or maybe it's Kenny Atkinson. But I think that feels like the big difference. Now, that being said, it's one game, right? You need to win 4 of these games to be able to move on. So it's not over yet. I have a belief that they've changed things, but what do we need to see from the Cavs to know that things have been different, that things are changed, and what will make you feel a lot better? Obviously, you want to win your first 2 games at home. That goes without saying. But if you can take control of this series and take game 3 away from Miami, or steal one of Miami's games on the road, get you in a position to end this series at home, well, then that's doing what a good team does. That's taking care of business, right? This series should not go into 6-game territory. It's not go into 7-game territory. You are more talented than the Miami Heat. You are fresher than the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat are playing their 3rd game of the playoffs. You are playing your 2nd. Well, no, 4th game of the playoffs. You're playing your 2nd. Miami Heats are relying on Tyler Hero and Davion Mitchell. Like, you have the talent advantage. I want to see this team not only handle business at home, I want to see them handle business on the road. They can do that in one of the most notorious NBA cities, Miami, right? Miami's one of those cities where it's notorious that, guys lose focus in Miami. You handle business, you stay focused, you beat Miami, you get one of those games. If you get 2 of those games and end the series in Miami, then yeah, man, you got it. You the team. I ain't worried about none of this other silly bullshit that people have been trying to get me to worry about with this team, right? But that's what's ahead of them. They demonstrated that mindset for game 1. Now it's nice to see you could do that. Can you do that for 4 games? Can you eliminate the Miami Heat? The one thing the Cavs have never done in the playoffs, this core at least, is ended a series. Not let a series go to 7 and then win, but end the series. When you got the momentum, take it. Last year, they won 2 games. They went 2 up on the Orlando Magic. They play Orlando in game 3. They get blown out. Okay. Game 4, close game, but they don't win it. 2-2. Now we got a series. Right? Felt like this was a series the Cavs could have got out in 5, ended up going to 7. Can't play like that. Right? This year, you get the same opportunity, capitalize, end it, beat a team that people don't think you are. Everybody's looking at this team like they're inexperienced, but they aren't. They've been through enough. And they should definitely know better. They know when they need to play hard. I saw it in game 1. And I think that's what I want to continue to see from this Cavs team. Y'all let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Everybody have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.